Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. In this video, we will discuss about if conditions with C#.NET. In the programming, it is very often possible that we'll face some situation where we want to run a certain block of code to be executed when a condition is specified or certain conditions are specified. With C#, decision making statement allows you to execute a block of code when a specific condition meets, and that is possible with few options with C#. One of them is if block or the if statement, and that is what we are going to discuss in this video. As you can see on my screen right now, we have a console application which is writing a list of messages repetitively on the console window, which is in the right of the screen. Now what if I would like to display certain messages only if the condition is true? How do I do that? Well, in C# you have a special character or the conditional block available that is known as if block, which you can use to execute the block of code only if the condition matches to true. To get an syntax, I am going to use the IntelliSense and use this second option that will give me a code snippet with the if condition. So here is this syntax of the if condition. You need to have a condition. If the condition matches, then the block of code which is written inside these curly braces is going to be executed. Now if let's say I would like to have the message as in, and right now I'm keeping it the value default value as in true. If I run the program again, let me just erase this. So we got the output as in conditional message, and the next output, which is the variable. Subscribe to the channel. Let's say I have a variable int equals to 10, and if I say condition as an if number is greater than 10, then this should run. Let's rerun the program. In this case, it is not executing this block of code because the condition which we have written is not satisfied, because we have the number value as in 10 and we are comparing if it is greater than 10. Let me debug that, and that will give you some idea how it is executing by the compiler. So we have a breakpoint here on the if condition. The value of the variable num is 10, and we are comparing this value to get the result, and you can see that the result is returned as false, and that's the reason if I press F10, then this block itself is not executed. Whereas if I make this condition as in less than or greater than or equals to, and if I run again, then the condition is going to match, and that will execute the code which is there inside the curly braces, as you can see here. So the message is printed, the conditional message, and the code after the condition is also been printed. Here is the diagram which shows the if conditional statement, where we have a start condition from where the code starts, then you have a conditional block in the if, and if the condition matches, you have to have the code written inside the curly braces. The code will be executed. If the condition is false, it will go and execute the code which is outside of your if condition block, which is outside of the curly braces. Here is one more example we will use to validate whether a given number is greater than or 10 or not. So in this case, we are asking user to enter a number. We are taking the value of the number, converting it into integer, and if the number is greater than 10, we are printing a message number is greater than 10, end of if block, and then we are basically moving ahead of the if block, which is the end of the method. Let's run that. So our program is waiting for a user to provide a number. Let's say I pass a number as in 5, so it directly goes here, end of the method. And if I rerun again, and this time if I'm going to pass 11 as in value, then it says 11 is greater than 10, end of the block, and then end of the method. Now one thing to note here is, as we are using the curly braces, we can write as many as number of statement inside this block. I can also write my if condition code block like this. When you use the if condition without the curly braces, .NET compiler will only allows you to execute a statement or single statement just after the if condition. If you have multiple statement after the if condition, that will be treated as an outside of your if condition statement. So in this case, this line is executed or treated as an outside of the if block. Now we know that with if condition we can execute the code if the condition is true. What if we would like to execute the code if the condition is not true? For an example, if the number is not greater than, or its number is less than 10, not greater than 10, then I want to display a message, a number is not greater than 10. We can use else block with if block. You always write the if else block with your if condition. So this is my else block I have written. Now if we rerun the program and try and enter a number which is less than 6 or less than 10, which is, let's say, number 7, says number is less than or equals to 10. Number 7 is less than or equal to 10. In this case, this block is getting executed, right? We just remove this. If I rerun the program and if I enter a number which is greater than 10, then let's see what is the result. This time I'm going to enter 12. So 12 is greater than 10. End of the method. This else block is not executed. It is possible that you could have if and else block both without curly braces, but the rule is going to be the same. So let's run that. We'll press 9 and it says 9 is less than or equal to 7. Now what if I put multiple lines of a statement? You get an error. It says that else cannot within a statement, which means that either you have to remove this or you have to remove your else condition, because if you are not using curly braces, you cannot have multiple statement with your if block. As soon as you start using multiple statement, next to next statement after your if condition is not going to be a part of your if condition anymore. It will be treated as a standalone statement by the compiler, and which means that the link of your else block with if block is going to be broken, and then that is where the compiler will throw an error saying that you cannot use the else block, you are using a standalone else block, and that is where the problem is. So now we are aware about the if condition statement, that we can write as many as statements within the if and else block, provided you have the curly braces. If you do not have the curly braces, you have to have the single statement only. Now let's see if we would like to have a condition inside the condition. For an example, I can also have a else condition inside this. Along with the if condition, if and else condition, you can also attach additional conditions. For you can use the else if condition, which means that the if block is not true, so we are re-evaluating the if condition with a else block with some different conditional logic. Enter the number. If we enter 5 or if I enter 6, then I say number is 6 is greater than 5, end of method. And similarly, if I press 10 or 55 for an instance, then it will print 55 is greater than 10, 55 is greater than 50, because this line is printed and this line is printed as well. Similarly, if I would like to rerun again, number is 45 for an instance, it says greater than 10, but 45 is less than 50, which is printing this particular line. So this is how you can have multiple conditional logic written with the help of if else and else if block as and when we need. Just to reiterate again, these else and else if blocks are totally optional, so you can have if condition standalone without having a need of else block. This is just a supportive statement. If you would like to evaluate further to your logic, to your condition, then you can do that. If you would like to write a false condition logic, then you can use the else block. I hope this is useful. If it is, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for the other upcoming videos.